What is going on, everybody? It's Voodoo 51292 here, and welcome to another episode of a video series that I have not done in quite a while, which is Voodoo's Verdict, which is my honest and thorough game reviews. And I haven't done one in quite some time because pretty much all the games up until this one that I've played in the second half of 2012, I have not yet had a chance to finish, so I haven't been able to review them because they've all been very long games. But we finally got a game that I was able to beat in a short amount of time, and I've played a significant amount of the game, and I'm ready to give my verdict on it. And as you can already see by the title, we're talking about a big one. This is Call of Duty Black Ops 2, and I am going to be reviewing the PlayStation 3 version, and that's important to keep in mind when I start talking about the multiplayer. Because it's going to make a difference if this is PS3 and not the Xbox version, but we will get there. So, just to let everybody know off the bat, this is probably going to be one of my longer reviews, simply because there's a lot to talk about with this game. I have a lot to say on it, and since I played so much of the original game, Black Ops 1, I have quite a lot of opinions actually about this game, and there's a lot to talk about. You've got the campaign, you've got the multiplayer, and you have the zombie mode. So we're going to go in, and as I always do, we're going to be thorough and honest about all three phases of Call of Duty Black Ops 2, and then I'll give you my score for the game. So what I want to start out talking about is the campaign of Black Ops 2. And the campaign of this game is really different than a lot of the previous Call of Duties. There's some things that are brand new to the series in the campaign that are pretty neat, and I want to talk about it. So, to give you a basic overview of what the campaign of Black Ops 2 is all about, of course without spoiling anything, if you remember the end of Black Ops 1, I guess I'll spoil a little bit of Black Ops 1, but you know, it makes sense for Black Ops 2, but the end of Black Ops 1 you had Frank Woods, who was very old at the end of that game, in his apartment. Somebody knocks on the door, comes in, and that's where the game ends. Well, Call of Duty Black Ops 2 picks up just where the last game left off, and who actually comes in is the son of Alex Mason, the protagonist from the first game, David Mason, and his crew. And they began basically interviewing Frank Woods because there is a new threat, a new antagonist in this game. It's a single person named Raul Menendez, who's basically a terrorist, and he rose to power during the time of Alex Mason and Woods when they were still soldiers after the events of Black Ops 1. He kind of rose to power, and so David Mason and his team are trying to, it's the year 2025, and they're basically trying to figure out from Woods, the backstory of Raul Menendez and how he came to power and what they should do to stop him, because he's a world terrorist threat. And it's really neat because it's a game that you switch back and forth between, you go back in the past and play as Alex Mason again after the events of Black Ops 1, and from that backstory you learn about Raul Menendez, who he is, why he becomes a terrorist, why he's so driven to conquer the world basically, and you figure out what happens to Alex Mason after the events of Black Ops 1. What eventually happens to him in his story, and how did Frank Woods and, how do they all get to this point? And then, of course, you play in the year 2025 as David Mason, Alex's son, going through and trying to stop Menendez in the current, that current time, 2025, trying to stop him from attacking and destroying countries across the world. So it's very cool to go back and play as these two different people, and it really is nice because it gives the game a lot of variety, because you'll be playing in this futuristic world, for some of the game, where you'll be, you have all these futuristic technologies, these futuristic guns, remote controlled drones and armored vehicles and all this other kind of crazy stuff going on. But you'll also be playing in the past, much like in Black Ops 1, with that kind of, more old school military technology, normal guns and that kind of stuff, much like the first Black Ops. But it creates a lot of good variety in the game, and they do a nice job of pacing it back and forth. And you visit some really neat environments in the game. It's very varied. You'll be in futuristic floating city resorts. You'll be in the past in the desert on horseback. You actually ride horses in Black Ops 2. You'll be all over. You'll be in the jungles. You'll be in hidden underground research labs in the future. You basically do a little bit of everything in Black Ops 2, which is really cool. And some of the new things they've added to the campaign of Black Ops 2 is, the biggest thing in my opinion is the fact that there are choices, and a number of choices, that you can make in the campaign of Black Ops 2. Certain situational choices where you can do one of two things. And there's a lot of them, and depending on what you do, it directly affects your ending, which is of course brand new to Call of Duty. And it's amazing because for the first time really ever, you have a reason to go back and play the campaign over, and and you have more reasons than just I want to beat it on veteran, because you can actually change the outcome of the game from the decisions that you make. And the decisions you make at the end affect they affect a bunch of different characters in the game and the outcome and what happens to them. Now, I don't exactly know how many endings there are to this game because there's a lot of choices, but I know that there are multiple. And again, like I said, depending on what you do in these situations, it will directly affect the ultimate ending of the game and what happens to each individual character, which is really neat. And I mean, that's great that they've added it to the Call of Duty franchise because, again, it gives you replayability, it gives you a different dynamic, a different element to the game than just run and gun and, that's it, the game's over. Another thing that they've added to this game is 5 what they call Strike Force missions. And what these are more or less mini real-time strategy mini-games, okay? And I can see people maybe being divided on this, but it's more or less 5 different missions where you can control, you're given a certain sets of infantry, I should say. In some missions you've got some elite soldiers, you've got some normal soldiers, you've got maybe some drones and maybe a walker. In another mission maybe you have flying drones, and there's one that's fully automatic, no soldiers. You get different sets, and more or less it's real-time strategy mini-games where you can direct these different, you can go to an overhead view and you can direct these different groups of military to different objectives. And they're really all different because you may have one where you have to defend 3 different points for a certain amount of time from being captured. Or there might be one where you need to go and capture these 3 points. Or you might need to search a bunch of buildings for a high-value target. They're all different, okay? And not only can you command these different troops to go different places like a real-time strategy game, but you can actually at any point go down and take control of any of these things. So you can go down and take control of a soldier and play as the soldier, or you can actually take control of a turret or a flying drone or anything that you've got. You can go down and take control of it. And doing these Strike Force missions, you do get a trophy or an achievement for doing each one, but that also affects the ending of the game. If you do all 5 of the Strike Force missions, you complete them, it affects the ending of your game, whereas if you don't, you get a different ending. So, variety in the gameplay, I can see people maybe being torn on this, because some people maybe think that they're fun and enjoyable, some people might really like it. The good news is that if you don't like them, you don't have to do them. They're completely optional. You don't have to do them to advance the story. You can not do any of them, but you will get a different ending. For me, at first, I did the very first one and failed at it miserably, and I really didn't like it, and I thought that all 5 were going to be the exact same, and I really wasn't going to do them. But I went back later and gave them a second chance, and when I found that they were all different, and then I went back and redid the one I failed and passed it with flying colors, at the end of the day, I really enjoyed those 5 Strike Force missions. I thought that they were good. They were a good mix-up from the normal run-and-gun gameplay. I thought that they added something to the game, and I enjoyed doing them. So, For the campaign, I also have to say that the plot of the campaign is very good. It's very interesting, going from the past to the present, all the decisions that you make. It keeps you really involved, and I was really thoroughly impressed with the campaign of Black Ops 2. For a Call of Duty game, I was extremely impressed. I thought that the campaign was right up there with a lot of the best campaigns of 2012. And I'm serious. I mean, I hoped that the campaign would be good, but it was exceptionally good. Now, as far as the campaign and the, you know, the story, the way they paced it, the decisions, the multiple endings, the Strike Force missions, and the gameplay is basically very similar to past Call of Duties, where it's you know, it's a running gun type of game with auto aim assist, all that kind of stuff. And yes, there are some AI problems where enemies and teammates will stand right next to one another and not kill each other and act like they're not there. You know, the gameplay is very similar to past Call of Duties, okay, but you expect that. But again, like I said, the good news is that the campaign story is very interesting. There's a lot of different guns in the game. You know, you go from old school to futuristic, back and forth, back and forth. The choices are great. The Strike Force missions I had fun with. If you don't like them, they're completely optional. You don't have to do them. And there's replayability. Now, the graphics in the game are pretty much the same as they have been in Black Ops 1 and for Call of Duty for the past few years, because they're running on the same engine. It's annoying because they're not as good as, you know, a lot of games that come out now. They're a little bit better. They're not terrible, but they're not great, okay? So don't expect to get the game and have amazing, blown-away graphics, okay? But the campaign of the game, really solid and a lot better than I thought the game would be, okay, for the campaign. So I really enjoyed it. I have to say, I really did. I thought it was great. I really did. So the campaign of Black Ops 2, really good, except for a few, you know, AI problems, but really, you know, didn't experience too many bugs. There was one bug I found on one of the Strike Force missions where I was requesting my units to move to different areas and they wouldn't move. They would just stand still. So I wound up having to do the whole thing by myself, but I did. I became a soldier, one of the soldiers, and I went through and basically did the whole thing by myself, which was annoying. That was really the only big glitch that I see. Another point that I want to make about not just the campaign, but the whole game in general, the music in this game is excellent, okay? The theme music was produced by Trent Reznor, who, if you don't know who that is basically the main guy of the band 9 Inch Nails. And he's very industrial kind of electronic music, really good. He made the theme for this game. I think he might have made some more music. There's a Skrillex song in this game, and if you don't know who Skrillex is, he's a very popular, people say dubstep. He's not really dubstep. He says he's bro step, whatever. But he's a very popular electronic remix guy, and you probably know who Skrillex is. He's pretty big. But he has a song in here. I think his best song. I'm not like the world's biggest Skrillex fan or whatever, but the song in this is really, really cool, and they play it in the campaign. There's a multiplayer map that plays the song, and it's in the credits. Really good. They have some more music made by some other people, but overall the music in this game is amazingly good, okay? They got some really good people to do the music for this. They also got Avenged Sevenfold. They have a song in there. And after the credits of the game, there's a hilarious secret ending as well, which if you watch my playthrough and you just get to the credits and you stop, don't. Just skip ahead to where the credits end if you don't want to watch them. There's a hilarious secret ending that you need to see. It's pretty great. So the campaign, really good, alright? So now let's talk about well, I guess we should talk about zombies real quick. Just get that out of the way, and then I'll finish talking about the multiplayer, because I have quite a bit to say about the multiplayer too. So zombies in this game, some changes from the previous Black Ops, okay? You've got a map, alright, called Transit, which is one big map with like 3 or 4 subsections that you can travel between with a tram that is in this game, or a bus, okay? And it basically plays like the normal zombie mode from Black Ops 1. And, you know, everybody who played that, it knows what that's about. You go around and kill zombies, you get cool perks, you can buy weapons, you unlock doors. all that kind of stuff, and there's 4 different areas in the map, transit, that you can go between, alright? And play basically normal zombie mode. There's also a new mode called Grief, which is basically a team of 4 versus a team of 4. There's 4 humans on each team, and it plays like normal zombies. But the thing is that the last team standing wins the match. So if all their team dies, then you win the match. And what's funny is that if another team goes down and they go and try to revive him, you as the humans can actually run up and like knife the people trying to revive their teammate and stop them from reviving him and make him die. And it's pretty interesting and unique, and when we played it, we had a lot of fun with it. There's also one more game mode. I think it's called Survival or something like that. I have not had a chance to check it out, so I don't really know what it's about, but I think the zombies in the game are really good. I think it's just as good as Black Ops 1. They've actually added some new modes, which is cool. The maps are cool. So zombies in Black Ops 2, very solid, and the improvements they made, I think, were really good. So that's a positive for the game. So I want to talk about the multiplayer now, okay? And I'll go ahead and put this down because I'm getting tired of holding the box. But a lot to say about multiplayer, because the campaign, as good as it is, by the way, I forgot to mention the campaign is about 6.5 hours long. That's about how long it took me on normal difficulty. If you play on the harder difficulties, it would probably take you a little bit longer. But that's how long it took me. So substantial. It's not like a 4-hour campaign like Homefront. It's not an 8-hour campaign, but it's a pretty decently sized campaign. 6.5 hours, that's not bad. So for the multiplayer, okay? Very interesting for the multiplayer. Lots of changes that they've made from the original Black Ops. So I guess we should talk about the changes first to the multiplayer. As far as the gameplay is concerned, how the multiplayer feels, has of course the feeling of the original Black Ops. Doesn't have the feeling of Modern Warfare. You know, it's something you can't really put into words, but just the movements, the feeling of the game, it feels like Black Ops. It doesn't feel like Modern Warfare. So let's just say that right now. But they've made a lot of changes, okay? And they've also kept a lot of the things the same, okay? Some of the things that they kept the same are still customization. You can customize your emblem and your background and all that other kind of stuff like you could for Black Ops 1. You can customize with camos, your weapons you can customize, the reticles, all that kind of stuff you can still customize. So the Black Ops customization is still there, which is very cool, which is something I really liked from Black Ops as opposed to Modern Warfare, was that customization. So that's all the same, okay? And the game modes for the most part are pretty much all the same. Now they've actually added the Kill Confirmed game mode, which made its debut in Modern Warfare 3. They have added that. There's a couple new game modes. There's a game mode called 3 Team or something like that, which is basically 3 teams of 3 people competing in kind of a mosh pit where they mix up the game modes, and you play different game modes with 3 teams of 3 instead of the normal 2 teams. There's also a new mode called Hardpoint, which I haven't really gotten a chance to play. I've seen a little bit of it played. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but it's another new game mode, okay? But for the most part, you have your normal game modes: Team Deathmatch, Domination, Search and Destroy, Demolition, Headquarters, all that good stuff, of course, is still there. I think there's something like 13 maps or something in the game, 14, normal fare for Call of Duty. So that's pretty much a lot of stuff they kept the same. As far as what's different, okay, quite a few things. Firstly, a big change not only for Black Ops but for Call of Duty in general. They did away with kill streaks. Kill streaks no longer exist in that form. What they are now called is score streaks, and the way they work is they work based on your score. So you don't get them based on how many kills you get in a single life. You get them on how much you score in a single life. So basically, when you get a kill, you get 100 points. If you get an assist, you can either get 25 or 50 points. You know, you can get various point totals, and if your points total up to enough, that's how you unlock the score streaks, okay? So let's say you have a score streak that's, you know, you need 300 score to get it. Well, you might get 2 kills, that's 200, and then get 2 50-point assists, you get the score streak, okay? So it's not like kill streaks where, okay, you need 3 kills, you need 3 kills to get them. Assists don't count. You know, 3 kills, you get the score streak. And your score resets after each death. So from that standpoint, it works like kill streaks where it's based on each life. Points don't accumulate per se. And you can only have 3 of them like normal. Bunch of different kill streaks. Some of the same, they've kept some of the Black Ops kill streaks in there, like RCs, attack dogs, that kind of stuff. But they have, you know, UAV, care package, but they have some new ones. They have a thing like called Lightning Strike, which is very similar to like a mortar strike. A Hellstorm, which is basically a Predator missile that explodes into bunches of different missiles that all rain down. And a few different other ones. So some cool, like, futuristic, one of them is like an attack drone that you can fly around and pilot. So some old, some new kill streaks, or score streaks I should say, are added. Another big change that they've made is they've actually limited you to 10 slots in your loadout, okay? And slots basically can be anything. Your weapons, your attachments, your grenades, your perks, all that stuff takes up slots, and you can only have 10 slots occupied at a time. So you have to basically pick and choose. You can't be completely stacked. You can't have a primary weapon with 2 attachments, a secondary weapon with 2 attachments, a tactical, a lethal grenade, and 3 perks, okay? You have to pick and choose. And surprisingly, each one of your tactical grenades takes up a slot. So you can actually opt to only have 1 tactical grenade. Usually you get 2. You can opt to only have 1, and that frees up a slot. And they have these new things called wild cards, which are basically additional perks that you can enable. They take up slots, but you can enable them, and they'll give you different perks, such as you can enable a wild card that allows you to take an extra perk. You can have a wild card that allows you to add a 3rd attachment to your primary weapon, or one that allows you to carry 2 primary weapons. So there are wild cards in there too, and they all take up slots. But it's pretty interesting because it's basically like inventory management. You know, you have to manage everything and keep it together and keep it to 10 slots. So that's new, and the last big change that they made is, if you remember in the original Black Ops, you unlock things with Call of Duty points, which is basically virtual money that you earned. You unlock things. In this game, it doesn't work that way. You get unlock tokens, and as you level up, you unlock certain guns, or you unlock the ability to get these new guns with these unlocked tokens, and everything pretty much costs 1 unlocked token, and I think you get a new token every time you level up. So there's no more Call of Duty points. And something that they borrowed from Modern Warfare is your guns now actually can level up. Your guns, you unlock attachments based on your weapon level. So as you use your weapon will level up. You can unlock suppressors and sights and all by leveling up your weapon, not just because you have Call of Duty points. So quite a bit of difference, okay? Now, I'm going to talk about, I want to try to keep this review under 30 minutes so I don't have to splice videos together because it's annoying. And I have a few minutes, but I want to try to make this short and sweet, but to the point. The PlayStation 3 version, this is where the problems come in, okay? And the difference between this and the Xbox, because the servers for PS3 and the game for PS3 basically are horrendously broken and messed up. And let me explain some of the things. First of all, the party system on here doesn't work. Doesn't work right at all. Because obviously on Xbox Live you can make a party on the system, not necessarily in the game. With PlayStation 3 you have to make it in the game. Earlier, me and my 2 friends were trying to play, and for some reason, some of us couldn't join other people, but we could all join my friend Dave. That's the only way it worked, is if we joined his party. The other ones couldn't join each other. We all had to join him. A lot of times it will break up the party between matches. The party system doesn't work. The servers are very bad. Lots of lag a lot of times. Before, they just released a patch, but before that, lobbies would be full with 12 people. The match wouldn't start. Actually, earlier in the week, the servers for PlayStation 3 were down for like a day and a half and didn't work. And ever since then, the servers have been crazy. Lots of times there's connection problems, it won't migrate hosts, it'll boot you out of the game. The PlayStation 3 version is sucking right now online, okay? It's sucking. And I don't know if Xbox is having these same kind of problems because I haven't played it on an Xbox, but I can tell you the PlayStation 3 version is having problems with the party system, with the servers. It's bad, okay? It's really bad, and a lot of the stuff needs to be patched. They released the patch a couple days ago. The only thing that it fixed was the fact that the rooms now, when they're full, are starting. They're not stuck and won't start. They do start now when they have a full room. But that's about the only thing the patch fixed. The party problems are still there, the connection problems, all that is still there. So right now, the PlayStation 3 version is going through some real problems, okay? And it's really hampering the online experience of the game, and really is going to take a few points off of my rating for the PlayStation 3 version, because the multiplayer is not working correctly. Another thing I want to mention about the multiplayer, the knife is useless. I'm going to tell you this right now. The melee in this game is the worst it's ever been in Call of Duty. It does not work, okay? It doesn't work. You go to knife someone, they're a foot in front of you, goes right through their body. Does not work properly, okay? The knife is horrible, useless, and needs to be fixed. Overall, what do I think of the multiplayer? When it works, it's fun, okay? And the internet here in my apartment is atrocious. I already know this. So a lot of the lag I can attribute to my own internet, okay? The party stuff, the servers and all that's not my internet. That's the game. But I'm about to go home for this next week where I actually have pretty good internet. So I'm going to be able to play the game in a lag-free environment for the most part. And when it's not lagging and when the servers are working well, the game is pretty fun. I like the new things. I'm not crazy about the score streaks, but it is something new and different. I like the unlock abilities instead of the COD points. I like the weapon leveling up. To an extent, I kind of like the 10 slots because it kind of keeps things balanced. You can't be completely decked out and overloaded with stuff. And you know, you have to manage things a little bit better so people aren't necessarily so overpowered that it's ridiculous, because you know you have to make some sacrifices, which is pretty cool. The maps for the most part are pretty good. I think they could be a little bit better, but for the most part I think the maps, they're a lot better than Modern Warfare 3, I'll say that right now. But I think that they're pretty decent maps. I don't think that they're horrible. I think they maybe could be a little bit better, but I think that they're pretty good. Overall, I think the multiplayer is good, except for the fact that the PlayStation 3 is really screwing up right now with their servers, okay, and it's hurting the game. Other than that, with the changes and all they've made, I think that it's pretty good, alright? So, I'm going to give the game a rating here and talk a little bit for the next couple minutes until I hit 30 minutes, but Call of Duty Black Ops 2, I'm going to rate the game a 7.75 out of 10. I think it's actually one of the better games I've played this year. The campaign is really good. The reason that I can't give it any higher is because the multiplayer isn't working well on PS3. Okay, so that's the rating I give the PS3 version. If the multiplayer was running beautifully, the game would probably be over an 8. Okay, because I think it's that good. I think that the campaign is really that good. I really like the direction that Treyarch went with Call of Duty with this game. I think it's a really good game. And again, I give it a 7.75 because the playing on the PlayStation 3 is a chore online because of how bad the servers have been. Again, if it was running smoothly, I would have given the game at least an 8, probably more like an 8.5 if it was running smoothly. I really feel that strongly about the game. I think it's really good. I think for Call of Duty, it's fantastic. It's a step in the right direction. Treyarch kicks Infinity Ward's ass when it comes to making these games. There's no question about that. I think everybody should give this game a try. I think that the campaign warrants it. The zombies are a great addition. They've expanded the zombie mode. And the multiplayer is good when it works. So, buyer beware on the PS3. Also, this gets the DLC a month late. So if you can buy it on Xbox, definitely do, okay? But that's my review of Call of Duty Black Ops 2. I'm running out of time. 7.75 out of 10. Definitely a pretty good game. You should check it out. I'm Voodoo 51292. Thanks for watching Voodoo's Verdicts, and I will see you next time.